Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to another cryptocurrency video. Now, today we're going to be talking about something that is very hot in the world of cryptocurrency, something that has been all over the news, and that is the claim that EOS is not a blockchain, but instead a glorified cloud computing service that is centralized and out to hurt people. So we're going to be debunking this entire article today, claiming and showing why this doesn't make any sense to me, why the whole thing's silly and weird, and why I do not trust it in any way, in any form, in any size, and why I still believed EOS is a very, very solid project, and how all of this was actually just, in my opinion, complete FUD produced by a rival company. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. So first things first, with them making such a bold claim, this got all over the news with a self-proclaimed, emphasis on the self-proclaimed part, expert coming out of a company called Whiteblock, which is a competitor of EOS, that's heavily invested in Ethereum, which we'll get into later, claiming that it is just nothing like it was supposed to. They claim that it was centralized, they claim that it's not a blockchain, they claim that it's a cloud computing services, they claim that it's ran by the cartels. Basically everything that you could think of something bad to do with a cryptocurrency, they tried to make you think that it was that. Now, first things first, again, they said that it wasn't a blockchain. It is. What he did here is he said, since I am a self-proclaimed expert, and that's pretty easy to do in cryptocurrency, because if you want to have an expert in physics, you go and you get like a master's or a doctorate in physics, and you are an expert in physics. That's pretty safe to say. But in cryptocurrency, some people call me an expert in cryptocurrency, which I don't believe to be true at all. But others, would call, if you work for a cryptocurrency company, you're an expert because you're in the top 0.1%. If you even work for a cryptocurrency company, because only like 0.1 or 0.01% of the world even works for cryptocurrency. So therefore, you're an expert statistically. I mean, he proclaimed himself to be an expert here and then said, since I am now an expert, a self-proclaimed expert, I am qualified to judge and say what I want about cryptocurrency, and it should be taken as truth. Now, what he does here is he manipulates key terms, and for the common eye, you're not going to be able to see this, but he manipulates terms like blockchain, like cryptocurrency, like cloud computing, and a couple of other things that we'll go through in here. But what he does is he redefines them and says, if they don't match my definition of blockchain, then it cannot be true. And that's essentially what he does here with the whole claim of EOS not being a blockchain, because he said, it doesn't match his definition of a blockchain, therefore it is not a blockchain. And again, it's really silly. I don't know how you can get away with claiming something like that and it getting over to almost every major news related site. But with this being on every single news site, I traced it all back, and there was only one source for all these sites. Only one source was cited for everywhere that this was posted. I mean, this was posted everywhere. It was huge because EOS is the 5th largest cryptocurrency. Over $5 billion invested in it. It went from $230 million to $5 billion in 12 months. And now it's up there and on track to rival its former counterpart, Ethereum, which is where it came from. Now, with this all being said, Whiteblock was the people who released this statement. They were the ones who did the digging, so to say, of EOS and looking at it and saying, essentially Whiteblock is Whiteblock and EOS is black box, and what this means is that they just strongly disagree with it. They're very biased, and if you read any of this, the link will be in the description below, so you can read through this yourself. But they were very, very biased against EOS, and we come to find out that they are actually affiliated and strongly and heavily invested into Ethereum. So with EOS branching off of Ethereum because it's a much better version of Ethereum, you have Whiteblock essentially trying to dig a grave for EOS by putting out this with a self-proclaimed expert. Now first things first, before we even get into that, because that's a big portion of this below, they claim that EOS is not exactly fast and could be controlled by the cartels. This doesn't make any sense to me, because if EOS was completely controlled by the cartels and what they say to be the cartel, and this is the cartel coin, that wouldn't make any sense because it's not a privacy coin like at all. Even Bitcoin's more of a privacy coin than EOS. So if this was the cartel coin, you would expect it to be a privacy coin like Zcash or Monero, or you could even argue Bitcoin, or a couple of the other ones out there. I mean, there's so many out there that could be the cartel coin instead of EOS because they're all privacy coins. And, if you're doing illegal transactions and funding the cartels, then you would want something to be done in private, not in public. And, again, the argument doesn't make any sense. Moving on down here, it says, claiming Whiteblock says it doesn't use cryptography. It's just, it's really just wrong. Even it says down here, the firm says EOS transactions only happen due to block producers updating the data stored in the underlying chain base rather than the cryptographically, I might have butchered that, verified changes in the state underlying the blockchain. That is in case with Ethereum. Again, doesn't make too much sense. They're talking about how it uses a chain base. If you guys don't know what a chain base is, it is one of the things that helps EOS run, so to say. We'll talk about that in a little bit more in a second, but this is the key area that I really want to focus on here, because this is what makes a whole lot of sense. It says, except it does just differently. Now, this is where we're going to read through. It says, the hard fork reached out to many EOS block producers for a comment at the print time. Most representatives declined to comment, noting that they were awaiting a publication of the full report, which, still has not been released, because it wouldn't make any sense for Whiteblock to release it. They're not going to release a full report because it would get chewed up. It was a very biased article that just was weird, did not make any sense, and it was, I don't know how else to put it besides it was heavily biased and manipulative of people who did not know what they're doing in blockchain and cryptocurrency technology. So, the odds are Whiteblock isn't going to release a full report. They have one source citing this, and every news site is counting this credible because one self-proclaimed professional said that, he was going to count this as essentially God's words, and that it should be believed. I think that's silly. You should never use a single source for 100 news sites. I mean, that is incredibly foolish, but that's just my opinion. The source then explained that the chain base is just a method of storing real-time information, as is the case with folders or files. In this instant, EOS stores data pertaining to transactions in a chain base, which is placed in a central location, similar to a Bitcoin full node. I mean, need I say any more? Blockchain producers then validate the transactions using cryptography or cryptography, writing confirmed transactions into a blockchain as a part of the process. Chain bases are really meant to optimize EOS performance, as they allow EOS to store data in RAM, or random access memory, which it is then uses to produce blocks quickly. This would suggest that EOS is actually a cryptography or a cryptography, after all, contradicting Whiteblock's conclusions, quite obviously. Now, it says a look behind the curtain. As we talk about this a little bit, it says it should be pointed out that Consensus SYS, which is commissioned by Whiteblock, is heavily invested in the Ethereum blockchain ecosystem, and which is the primary competitor to EOS. It describes itself as a venture production studio that focuses on the development of Ethereum-powered platforms. This entire company is heavily invested and intertwined with Ethereum-powered platforms, the Ethereum network, and with EOS branching off of Ethereum, doing significantly better, going from ranks 30, 40, all the way up to 5 in the bear market, going from in the bear market, keep that in mind, going from a $230 million total market cap to a $5 billion total market cap, over $5 billion now. It's it's almost up to $5.2 billion in 1 year's time, is incredible. No wonder they're scared. I mean, EOS is on a warpath for Ethereum, and it's quite literally death staring Ethereum in the eye, saying hey, we're coming for your spot, and we are the better version of a smart contract platform. That's just what it is. You can't argue that Ethereum is a better version of EOS. It's just really, you just can't. Statistically speaking, and looking at the technology behind it, it is just a better version. Now, you could argue that the staff for Ethereum might be better the staff for Ethereum might be better for EOS. That's an argument, but again, I don't think that matters too much, because I think the technology is just so much stronger than that of Ethereum. So with all this being said here, what does this all mean? Well, one, I think it is silly that hundreds of news sites used one man as a source, or one company as a source, for this entire scheme and claim. But I also think that it's stupid and silly that all of these claims were made so manipulative. I mean, they were defining their own terms of blockchain and other sources. They were saying that it was ran by the cartels. They were literally just spreading FUD through this article, trying to do as much damage to EOS as they could. I mean, That's all this looks like to me. And I've been around for a long time, and I know people trying to spread FUD when I see it. And this was just, as soon as I was going through this, I was thinking, man, this is just another massive FUD article. Now, thank God that this didn't just affect the whole cryptocurrency community. We've seen people actually getting punished for that now. I mean, you saw what was happening in Asia earlier this year with people going to jail for trying for spreading fake FUD and affecting and manipulating the market. This is just, while you can't get in jail for something like this, this is them spreading their opinion, but it's also they're pressing the line here, the fine line between spreading their opinion and their voice, which they are rightful to do, and what's the word? I think it's called libel, where you're just attacking something with almost false claims. So they're getting real close to the line here. Again, strongly disagree with this article out from White Block. Didn't make a lot of sense. It was weird. It was extremely biased, and it just was not entirely true. And it really took advantage of the people who aren't heavily invested with the underlying technology of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. I mean, if you really didn't know too much about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, you would read this and think that EOS was going to die. This was the end of EOS. I had texts and messages and all over Discord and email and like everything saying, oh my God, did you see the news about EOS? You got to do a video about this. We got to get our money out. And I was, the more I looked into it, the more I just thought that this whole thing was silly. So I know that might have turned into a little bit of a rant, but I just wanted to make sure that I gave my side of the story. Don't do any investing or changing of money because of anything I said. Nothing I said is legal, financial, or tax advice in any way. Simply just my opinion on this whole outlook of such an obscure situation, something that we quite honestly haven't seen in a long time in the cryptocurrency market and community. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did find it helpful, do not forget to hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons. I am very, very active in the community. I try to respond to every comment I get, and then I have links to everything like the Patreon and the Discord and all that stuff that's in the description down below if you guys want to contact me as well. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and until next time, guys, I will see you guys in the next one.